Hey, Team Faith and Soul. I'm so excited. It is officially Wednesday at 7 p.m. And yes, my voice is still out. At least I have a voice. Forgive me. I think my phone, I'm going to try to adjust it real quick. I'm on my phone. Hopefully I'm hoping this bright light up here is not going to be too crazy because my phone is currently on a ring stand and it's a tabletop ring stand. And I'm usually on my tablet and it's seriously driving me crazy. And I don't even think you guys can notice, but it's like the attachment to the ring light, the phone just keeps falling forward. And it's like my squirrel brain literally, it's just like kicking in and it's driving me crazy. So hopefully I could get it at a spot that that's not going to bother me as much. So we'll see. All right, so let's just go from there. So happy Wednesday night. I'm so excited to have you guys. I think I'm literally just going to take it off the stand before it just drives me up the wall. So here we are. I'm just going to hold my phone. It is what it is. It is what it is. We're just going to roll with it. So happy Wednesday night training. My hair looks a little crazy, but I really don't care because I just got done doing a really quick workout. It kind of sort of ties into tonight's theme as far as being inspire. So inspire the soul, inspiring others. That's really the theme for the month with Cincy. And I really like that topic. It's very, very near and dear to my heart. So I think it honestly really truly ties in with what I just did. I mean, I just finished a workout. Those of y'all that know me personally, I was very due diligent about a year ago with getting back on, I don't even want to call it a fitness journey because it sounds really corny and just stupid to me to say it like that. But I just started doing things that were better for myself. Most of y'all that follow me on social media know that I was working last year. I was literally waking up the first of the year, 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning, working out for like 30 minutes to an hour tops, usually 30 minutes. And it was like really paying off and it was really good. But it just went downhill. And so last year, like I said, at the beginning of the year, I was doing really good and I was working out and I was being due diligent and I just had a schedule. So, life happens and it didn't work out, but it's all good because I'm getting back on track now. So that pretty much ties into, again, tonight's theme as far as being inspired. And so if I'm a little red in the face, like I said, I'm all good. I just got done doing a quick workout. I just posted it to my stories. I love to dance, love Zumba. So I actually found a free dance class that's like hip hop. It's like more modern style music that I love listening to. I would say from like 2007, 2010-ish, and now. So it's very current, but it's a lot of fun. It's free on YouTube, by the way. So if you follow me on my Facebook page, look at my stories and check it out. Let me know what you think. But I'm just excited because that's what I just got done doing for about, I don't know, no more than like 15 minutes. And so I'm like, you know what? It's baby steps. So I'm super excited because like I said, I definitely fell off the wagon and didn't have much of like any kind of workout regimen, routine, getting up, moving my body, stretching for like the last 6 months. And it's definitely taken a toll on me physically. So things have got to change. Because like I said, I love to dance and I just got to get my body moving because working at home and just sitting all day is not what it's all cracked up to be. So let's go ahead and get started with tonight's training. Again, tonight's training's theme is inspire. I'm pretty excited because I feel like that for the next couple Wednesdays for January, the topics are really going to tie into that. And you'll probably see on T Faith and Soul's page, you guys, you'll see I'll do probably like a post once a week or so. And I really want to tie into like quotes. I want to tie quotes in and just different ways that we can inspire one another and inspire ourselves. And that may look different for all of us as well. So I'm very excited about that. Also, just as a side note, team, as far as going into like the next couple of months, our team trainings for each week, the topics, I just want to go back to basics. So if you're wanting to know kind of an idea where we're going to be heading into like February, March, I'm just seriously just going to start over and just keep it very, very, very easy and um, not too complicated. I feel like that stuff is like kind of like a mid-year versus the beginning of the year. I think it's great to do like a fresh start. So we're talking like how to set up a private page on Facebook, to how to close out a party, how to flip a party, things of that nature. Because and I know this isn't like talking about like tonight's training, but I just wanted y'all to have a generalized idea of the flow of the way I think things are going to go. And I want them to go over the next couple of months, at least until March. So we'll just be going through the basics. And the reason why I really want to do that is because I just touched base with a couple of team members over the last couple of days. And some of them have been with Scentsy for at least a year, if not longer. And I was really shocked to find and kind of, I don't know if I want to take it personally or not. I'm trying not to as a sponsor, but I was really shocked, honestly, that some of you guys are not aware of the basics and just that, like how to set up a private group on Facebook, how to set up a shopping link with Workstation, things like that. I know that I will say this much is that if you've been with me for the last 3 years since I joined Scentsy, um, yeah, that is because I didn't know what I was doing when I first joined and I first started sponsoring you guys. So that is on me. I mean, we'll just say 50-50, because that's also going to tie into what we're going to talk about at the beginning of this training, is that we're responsible for our own growth. So that's partially on me and partially on you guys. So that's kind of the flow where we're going, just starting with the basics. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started with tonight's topic. So it's inspire. So like I said earlier, you guys are responsible. We are responsible for our own growth. Okay. You may have people like myself, if I'm your sponsor, or if you're on Team Faith and Soul, you may have people like myself who can support you, but you need to find someone that you can talk things out with that may necessarily like speak your like love language or your language. Sometimes I know that when we do trainings like this, you guys hear me all the time. You see my posts, we talk all the time, and I get it to where you might want to have somebody else step in and do a training, or you might, it just may be like my personality and our personalities don't mesh up, they don't align, and that's okay. Or maybe you're at a different place in your business and what we're talking about training wise doesn't necessarily align where you're at in your business. That's okay. That's why there's so many other consultants out there, you guys, so many YouTube channels, so many different groups on social media platforms where you can touch base and connect with other consultants other than myself. Okay. Also, just like home world tour. World tour is coming up in February. I'm super excited for Bernice and then Barbara. They joined. They'll be going with me 2 different locations, but for world tour, that is somewhere that you're going to meet people who speak the same language as you. And what I mean by that is your love language, how you learn, what inspires you, what you have in common other than Scentsy. Those are places like World Tour, and later on this next year, Scentsy Family Reunion. That's places that you can meet people and find those like-minded individuals. But at the end of the day, you are responsible for your own growth. There are a multitude of ways for you to, and we're not talking like, by the way, just Scentsy, but in our own personal lives. Like I gave you an example, like I just said, I just got done with like a 15-minute workout. Like it doesn't even matter, honestly, that it was 15. I don't even know why I said that, but I just got done with a workout. Okay. Did anybody force me to do that? No. Did anybody text me and call me and remind me like, hey, Megan, you need to go do that 15, you need to go do that dance workout. You need to get up and start moving your body. Heck no, nobody reminded me to do that. I had to do that for myself because I am responsible for my well-being, my physical self, my mental health, right? Just like we're responsible for our own business and our growth in Scentsy. There are tools that I provide you guys. For example, this training right now. There are some of y'all that are in the private group that I just got started on Monday. if you join that private group that I set up for training for Team Faith and Soul, those are ways that you're investing in your business, you're investing in yourself, and you will grow in your business. But at the end of the day, yes, I provide the tools, Scentsy provides the tools, but you at the end of the day are responsible for your own growth. I'm not responsible for it. Scentsy's not responsible for it. You're responsible for it. We just provide the tools necessary. So then that way it's not so hard for you to find the things that you need. We cannot motivate someone, but we can inspire them. And that's just the same. Everything that I'm pretty much covering tonight on our training tonight, you guys, it is tied into everything other than just Scentsy. This is going to be tied into yourself, your outside world, your work world, your coworkers, anybody other than Scentsy. Of course, we are talking about Scentsy, but I just want you guys to know that it's not just about that. And hopefully, if you're watching this training, whether you're watching the live or the replay, maybe there are going to be things coming to mind or people coming to mind that maybe you can attach, what we're talking about tonight to that and not just your Scentsy business. But again, just going over that again, we cannot motivate someone, but we can inspire them. Just like I can't motivate you guys to show up every week in your business and do something, at least one thing that's going to help your business get further along, right? Like I can't motivate you. I wish I could. I wish I could, but it just, there are motivations out there. Don't get it wrong. But at the end of the day, I can't give you the energy and I can't force your hand, to do something that you have to decide to do on your own. And again, that could go anywhere in our lives, Scentsy and beyond, right? But we can inspire somebody. Just like, for example, again, going back to the whole workout thing that I just did, I posted that in my stories. Not only is it holding me accountable and it's showing my progress, because we all know about Facebook memories. So I can't wait to see that next year on this day that I did that, because it's going to help me with my progress. Who knows, if someone else sees that in my stories, it could inspire them too. You never know who's watching you, right? People are always watching, even if they don't tell you, even if they don't respond to my stories, they're still going to see it, right? So that's how we can inspire somebody. And I really want to challenge you guys, whether you're watching the live or the replay at some other point, and think about like how you can show, how you can inspire somebody. Or better yet, if someone comes to you and they say, you really inspired me too, I really want you to either write that down or tell somebody else or share it with our team, share it with me, because those are really special moments. I'm actually gonna do something. Okay, that's better. I think, yeah. And I'm recording my phone, so I'm actually kind of curious to see how this Zoom is going to come up once I upload it to YouTube. So we'll see. Yeah, okay. Let's see. Sorry, y'all, I got to do something real quick. Okay, so again, think about like what inspires you or who you're inspiring. I love it when individuals, when people come to me and they say those certain things, because I feel like it's validating the fact that I am doing something for the common good, for the better good, that there's a purpose behind what I'm doing. But yet, or better yet, I love doing things for myself that are better for myself, whether it's mental, physical, spiritual, and sharing it out with the world. Because again, you just don't know at the end of the day who you're going to inspire. Think about like what inspires you. Like music inspires me, for example. I love listening to lyrics. I'm really big on lyrics. So there's like a playlist that I have on Spotify, for example, that I love listening to every morning while I'm at work in my office, that inspires me. Just the same as when I'm in my car and I want to relax, I have a playlist for that as well, because there are, again, songs that inspire me to do something, whether it's cleaning around the house or whether it's getting work done in my office. Positive quotes inspire me. There are podcasts that I listen to, different individuals, because those people inspire me as well. I think it's important for us to maybe make a list or reflect on the things that do inspire us, and definitely take the time through our weeks and through our days to set aside that small pocket of time to find that one thing that's going to, and use that as a go-to whenever we're not having like not so kind of great day. When someone asks you why you joined Scentsy, what is your response? When someone asks you, I get people all the time who ask me either like, what made me decide to choose to work Scentsy full time, or why did I join Scentsy? Like what motivated me to join the company? Another challenge I want for you guys, other than reflecting on what inspires you and to use that through your week, is I want to challenge you to dig deeper than just saying that I'm doing Scentsy for my family. Because, yes, don't get me wrong, don't get it wrong, there's nothing wrong with saying that you're doing Scentsy for your family, because I think that that's a great motivator, right? That is something that I think is, there's nothing wrong with that, because that's a big part of why I do Scentsy now, is to have that supplemental extra income for Derek and I, right? For my husband and I. But I want you guys to dig deeper than just that, because I feel like that when we first joined, that could maybe be the surface of why you joined, to provide something for your kids or to have an extra income for your family. And that's great, that's fine. But that can only take you so far. Okay. And what I mean by that is that it's important for us to dig deeper and maybe give ourselves permission to be a little bit selfish, and thinking like why we join Scentsy for ourselves. And it's completely okay if you don't know the answer to that, because honestly, I joined a little over 3 years ago, and I never would have had the same answer as to why I joined Scentsy 3 years ago as to why I joined Scentsy now. My answer 3 years ago was so different. 3 years ago, I would have said, and I know I said this, is that um, I needed an outlet. I wanted to do something fun. I didn't want to do anything that was going to be a lot of work. I just wanted to escape. Okay. But I'm at such a very different place now in my life that my answer, if someone was to ask me now why I joined Scentsy, I would say I joined Scentsy because I needed friends. I wanted adult interaction. I needed inspiration for myself. I wanted that validation that I was seen, heard, and loved. And Cincy has given me the platform to be able to do that, not only for the validation for myself, but for me to be able to give back to others and inspire somebody else to be a better version of themselves. And 100% I give that back to Scentsy, because it has been my one constant through the last couple of years. So you see how there's a little bit of a difference between the two. That's something that I really want you guys to work on, is thinking and digging deeper dig deeper than the surface as to why you joined Scentsy. What's something that would gratify you internally? What brings you gratification? I want you guys to dig deeper and think about these kind of things, because when your business is at a standstill, when perhaps your PRV is looking like it's not where you want it to be for the month, no matter what time frame we're at in the month or the year, even if you're looking at your business and you're like, I'm feeling kind of down because I'm either burnt out, or it could be that your business feels slower, or you're just not motivated. You don't feel motivated enough. You feel like you're at a standstill. These are things that why I'm asking you to dig deeper into what motivates you. What is something that is going to gratify you? What is the one thing in your Scentsy business that you absolutely love to do and that brings you joy? Those are the things that I want you to hone in on. And in the pockets of your life in the moments of life when you're working your Scentsy business and you get to that point where you're either feeling burnt out, tired, exhausted, or at a standstill. I want you to go back and reflect on what it once was that did bring you joy, that brought you gratification, that inspired you to keep going, because those are the things beyond just your family, beyond just your spouse, that is going to get you through those tough times. And frankly, inspire yourself. A couple of things that could bring you gratification and make you feel more fulfilled. A couple examples is to do something for yourself. I know that sounds super vague, but doing something for yourself can be something so simple that's not going to take a lot of time. So, for example, that could be fixing your favorite snack. It could be reading your favorite book. It could be, like, for me, I love listening to podcasts. So doing something for myself is taking that 15-20 minute time break where I'm listening and I'm paying attention to my favorite podcast. So that's something you're doing for yourself because you're filling your cup up, right? Because if our cup's not filled, we can't provide and give to others, our families, our spouses, our kids, our community, our friends, you name it. We can't inspire anybody else until we inspire ourselves. Until we inspire ourselves, we can't inspire anybody else because we have an empty cup. To have adult connections, again, remember what I was saying earlier, is that was one of the biggest reasons I found that why I joined Scentsy, is so that I can meet people outside of my house. Like, I needed to make new friends because when I moved back to Texas City, I found that most of the people that I was friends with, we really just didn't have anything in common anymore. And we didn't align, like our goals and everything else in life didn't align. So I needed to find new people. So it's incredible for me to have friends outside of this area that are involved with Scentsy, and they live in different states. Like, to me, that's like the coolest thing ever. I personally, another example that I wrote down was, I enjoy bringing, again, I said earlier, I know this is repetitive, but I enjoy bringing joy, that's a mouthful, to others. I like putting a smile in somebody's face, right? Maybe perhaps that could be your motivation behind whenever you feel like you're kind of at an all-time low, that it's giving you the swift kick in your pants that you need in your business, is because you enjoy bringing bringing a smile to somebody's face, right? That could be your motivator. Have a bigger goal for not just the month, but for the year in your Scentsy business. So I have a long-term goal for the year. So for example, and mine's going to be different than y'all's, but my long-term goal for the year is for us to maintain director numbers, for me to maintain director numbers for at least 3 or more, actually, no, I'll go bigger than that, 6 or more consecutive months. That is a big deal for me in my business. So that is my long-term goal, because I have other things that I want to achieve, but that to me is something that I want to goal myself first before I get to everything else. So that's my long-term goal for the year. Also, I want to double my sales. That's something that I wanted to challenge myself for 2023, is to double my sales from 2022. Now, it's important to have smaller scale goals. So my smaller goal for the month is for me to hit 2025, really, if I'm challenging myself, 2,500 PRV for the month, because that's last year and before that, I was able to maintain that. I was able to get that, and I've really been slacking. So, in full transparency, that's my personal goal for the month. Again, your goal is going to be very different, but I think it's so, so, so important to start at like I said, a big, huge, scary goal for the year, and then scale back to the month. And then sometimes I even have goals for like the week. So for me, my goal from now to the 15th of this month is to get that 500 PRV. Obviously, if I hit my 500 PRV before then I'll, switch up my goal. But I think it's really important for us to have that goals in place, because again, it's given us something to work towards. Develop a plan for, again, a day-to-day to a weekly basis. I feel like that one way that we can inspire ourselves, especially for those of you guys that do work full-time jobs aside from Scentsy, is that it's important to have a plan and to have something in mind that you're going to be doing day to day to a weekly basis. And that's not just Scentsy, that's really focusing on your non-negotiables. So for example, for me, a non-negotiable two that I actually have, or no, I'll actually say three non-negotiables that I have for my week. I have therapy on Tuesday, I have life group on Thursdays, and I have church on Sunday. Those are my non-negotiables. Those are things that happen every week that don't change. I'm not flexible in that. So those are things that are set in stone where I meet people, I meet somebody at a specific time and place. So that's what I mean by non-negotiables. Things, or like, for example, another one is that when Derek is on days, a non-negotiable for me is to have dinner ready by 7 p.m. Now, I will say that it's important to allow yourself room for flexibility. What I mean by that is, I give you an example. Thankfully, he's on nights right now, but I'm doing a Zoom training and it's 7:30 at night. I haven't even had dinner. If he was here, we would be having dinner closer to 8 p.m. Like, you have to have flexibility and you have to do what works for you and your business and your family, right? So those are your non-negotiables, like things like that. You want to set those down and put those in stone. So what I mean by that is you want to get some kind of calendar, whether it's here on your phone, your computer, tablet. I physically like to have a planner. I decided to go ahead and go back to that this year. So I have a paper calendar, a planner. So those are things that I write down on is my non-negotiables, because that way, whenever I'm planning everything else, either a day to day or to a week to by week basis, I can see those things that are permanently on my week and then work around that. But you have to do that because that is going to allow you to have that room to see, okay, I only have 15 minutes this whole week to work my business. What can I do in those 15 minutes? And make it count. We all have the same 24 hours in a day. It is up to us to decide what we do with it. And there's no excuse there, by the way. You have to do what works for you. Even if it means, like I said, 15 minutes per week that you're putting into your business, take advantage of those 15 minutes. Having a plan will help you build momentum that will give you the necessary fuel to keep going. Pretty much what I've been talking about this whole time is that if you have a plan, if you have somewhat of a schedule, and that's going to look different for all of us, right? My schedule is not going to be the same as y'all's, but you have to have something in place. I found that over this last year, flying by the seat of my pants was not cutting it anymore because I was working in organized chaos. And halfway through last year, about 6 months in, I was like, no more. I was like, I can't do this anymore. Something has to change. So I started making small steps to make sure I was doing things a little bit different. And it paid off. But having a plan will help you build a momentum that will give you the necessary fuel to keep going. Because again, if you have that goal plan, if you have that goal in mind for what you want to achieve this month, what you want to achieve for the year. To be honest with y'all, when I think about making goals for the year, I'm like, no. Because to me, that honestly, it doesn't really feel achievable. It's idealistic. Don't get me wrong, like I said earlier, I do have a year goal, but I have to think on a smaller scale. So for me, for example, my Scentsy business, I take it on a week-to-week basis. Now, I'm not saying, like, for example, what I mean by that is I have to pivot every day, because let's just say, I'll give you an example. Today I didn't get any PRV in, I didn't get any sales. So that means that I am going to make sure that I make that up over the next day or two, right? But on a bigger scale for me, I cannot, for example, I can't book events on a week-to-week basis, right? So I like doing events. So I have to make sure that that's that bigger scale. So I'm actually booking events for myself with other companies, other people, a few months ahead. That's something I can do on a bigger scale. But everything else I pretty much do on a day-to-day to a week basis, because otherwise I just go crazy. Let's see. Before you develop a plan, first map out how you are spending your time. Pretty much what I just said, your non-negotiables. So all of us are so different. A lot of you guys have grandkids. A lot of y'all have kids. You have to map out what your week looks like with them, what your month looks like with that, right? How are you spending your time? And that's everything from the things that you can't change, like the hours you work with your job. Um, like I said, like for example, me, therapy Tuesdays, church on Sunday. Those are pockets of time that is non-negotiable, right? But it's important for you to map that out. That's why I like to look at it on a week-to-week basis, because that way, once you do that, you're going to be able to see, oh, wait, I have Saturday. I don't have anything planned for Saturday. I have time to do something. That way, if you're seeing that at the beginning of your week and it's Sunday or Monday, and you see, oh my gosh, I have some free time on Saturday, that's when you could be like, okay, well, what am I going to do for Saturday? What am I going to do with my Saturday that's going to be um, the most, what can I do to make the most of my day? Pretty much. That's what I mean to say. Inspire yourself by taking time for self-care. One thing that I've learned over the last year was that self-care goes beyond just what we typically think. So for me, I used to think of self-care as like a massage or getting a pedicure or manicure. But honestly, it goes way beyond that. Okay. So for me, this last year, I realized that self care was not instantly jumping out of the bed when I first wake up in the morning. I now I'll wake up and I'll lay there for about, I don't know, 5 to 10 minutes, usually 5 minutes at most. And just allow myself just to process the morning. I kind of think about like, what am I going to be doing, within the next couple of hours, kind of mapping out mentally my day. And if my schedule allows, then I'm like, okay, you know what? I'm not immediately, because I work from home. So when I first wake up, my brain usually is like, go straight to your office, go straight to your office. And what I've learned is that is like the worst thing that I can do for myself. So now when I wake up, I take the time, I set my alarm, I take the time to go fix my tea or my coffee. I take the time to read a little bit in my book. I play that playlist that I was telling you guys about. I have a playlist for the morning. I listen to that. I do something that's going to be self care for myself through therapy. Big advocate on therapy. I've learned that self care is processing things through therapy, processing things on my own outside of therapy. That's self care as well. A lot of times when I'm processing, I don't really want to say processing, but like when I'm experiencing grief through any time of the year, because Lord knows grief never pops up on a schedule like I like it to. Grief just kind of pops up unexpectedly. So if I'm experiencing grief personally, or if I'm struggling with my depression, those are things that I'm going to take the time out to be able to I don't want to say the word process again, but I just really want to focus on and give the respectable amount of time for me to be able to sit on it and not just push it aside. That is self care. Giving yourself a little bit of silence, sitting in the car, waiting for your kids to be coming out of the school to pick them up from their sports activities, anything like that is self care. So don't ever think that the things that are monetary value are just what self-care is, because self-care could pretty much be anything that you're doing for yourself. um Hell, like I know self-care for me is most of the time through the day my phone is on silent, like, or my messages, I'll say this, my text messages are always on silent. That's self-care for myself mentally. So even though that's something that's like so small, it makes a big difference. Let's see what else. Going back into self-care, I said this earlier, it's like fixing your favorite snack. A lot of us don't always have the time to do big self-care things like a massage, or like for me, financially I don't have the money now right now to get a massage. I'd love to, but I don't have it, or to get my nails done. But there are other ways around self-care that are not going to cost um, anything, or if anything at all, just a little bit of money, if not free. Um, what else? Go for a walk, spend 10 to 15 minutes. Go do a walk around your neighborhood, around a local school, meet a friend for coffee. That's self care as well. Schedule an appointment again with a therapist. That's self care. Play your favorite song. That's self care as well. Like I was saying earlier, life will get in the way. That is normal. Life is going to happen, right? We cannot let life determine how we are going to live our lives. Okay. Things are going to get in the way. We have to remember, last year, my big word was pivot. So when life gets in the way, it's important for us to pivot and get back on the horse, put our big girl panties on, and move on to what's next. Okay. It's also important for us to know that when life gets in the way, it's important for us to take a step back and maybe reevaluate where our priorities are at, what's more important for us. Um, let's see. Again, just focusing on how you're going to pivot to get back on track. That is so important. For me, for example, this last year, my month to month was not always the same, but let's just say that I didn't have as great of a month in December, but I want to make sure that I make up for that in January and I don't let that get to me. So I have to make sure and set up goals, and I have to have a schedule of what that looks like for the month. I can't fly by the seat of my pants. I would love to be able to sit around and be like, the sales are going to roll in. But it's not how it works, guys. Not all the time. Not how it works. I can't just sit and pray and hope for all of the random PWS orders to come in on my website, because it's not going to happen. It happens every now and then, but I can't just sit around expecting that, right? So I have to put systems into place to make sure that I'm setting myself up for success. Just the same as it's important for me to have systems in place that I'm taking care of myself mentally, emotionally, physically, etc. Let's see. I already talked about that. I'm going to repeat that again. Let's see. Oh, so those of y'all that are on the team, you saw last week that I posted about our word of the year, right? So to me, I know that not everybody believes in having a word of the year, but I have found that there's great importance in finding and discovering that word of the year. The reason being is that once you grasp that word of the year, or maybe if it's more than one for you to have for the new year, that it's going to be important to have that in mind, because it's going to bring you back on track. It's going to be what inspires you to keep going, to wake up every day, to keep going, even when you don't have that great of a day, or you're going through a setback or a challenge. What will keep you focused on the path that you want to be on? For example, most y'all know now that my word of the year is rebuild. So I love that, because anytime that I'm going to get knocked down, that life doesn't go my way, that I get a setback in my life, because let's be honest, life happens. It's going to happen. I'm not going to focus as much on this year of like, oh my gosh, bad things are going to happen this year. What am I going to do? But I do know that life happens and there are going to be curveballs thrown my way. But focusing on my word, rebuild, means that even when I'm knocked down, I'm going to get back up. I'm going to make sure that I'm doing my best every day and work towards being a better version of me. And I'm rebuilding myself. I've worked through a lot of my stuff this last year, and I'm at such a healthier place mentally that I'm ready to rebuild this new version of Megan for 2023. Having a plan takes discipline, you guys. It's not something that's going to happen overnight. I give you an example. I love planners. I love to-do lists. I love planners. I love calendars, but I'm not the best at them. And I, not even kidding you, the last few years I had 2 planners, never once used them, never picked them up, never used them. Nice and pretty, they were really cute, but I didn't put them to use. And so I decided um, that this past year, I was like, you know what? I'm not going to get any more planners until I know that I'm going to use it. So I did get the 2023 planner for Scentsy because I know that I'm going to put it to use, right? um, I know that that's going to take discipline in itself. Anything new that we do in our lives is going to take discipline. Hell, me trying to get myself on a healthier track. I'm working on better gut health. I'm working on just trying to get motivated enough to like get up and get moving, no matter what that looks like for me on a weekly basis. That itself is going to take discipline. I seriously, like, I just remember I said earlier, I just got done doing that little workout. Did I want to do it? No, not really. I actually wanted to get on TikTok and watch videos until I did the Zoom training. But I was like, you know what, Megan, do 2 workout songs. What is that like? Like I said, like barely 15 minutes. Like I did 2 or 3 workout songs, whatever. And I got it done, got out of the way. It was a lot of fun. I'm glad I did it. I feel better. I was able to stretch my body a little bit more. I don't feel as tight. And it was worth it. But it's going to take discipline. It's not going to happen overnight, just like everything else in our business. Perhaps you can have a to-do list that is created. Utilize this, utilize your to-do list. I'll show y'all one that I actually have too. So not only do I have my monthly planner, right? I was telling y'all about my planner for the year, but I also have this little to-do list here. And in fact, y'all just hold tight. So see the blank, it says goal getter at the top. I like it because it has, you probably can't see it, but it has little squares for like checking things off, and it has like a certain number of lines. And what's really cool is that that's actually where I write my to-do stuff for the week for my personal business. I brain dump everything. That's so important for us to do, by the way. I brain dump everything typically like Sunday, Monday. I'll make a list and I'll check it off as I go through the week. I pretty much have something written down for every space for the week. And this isn't saying like, oh my God, I need to get this all done on Monday. No, it's like, okay, Megan, during the everyday mundane that I'm doing, what can I do in the in between? That's where that list comes in, because those are things that are really small things I need to do in my business, but Lord knows I'm not going to remember. So that's where that to-do list comes in. It's that self-discipline. Utilize a to-do list. If that works for you, it may not work for you, but if it does, try it out. Utilize this when you find a pocket of downtime. Just like what I said earlier, I have a everyday thing that I do. I have stuff that I do every day, right, on my week-to-week basis. However, that list is something when I find a small pocket of time to do something, that list is what I go to, because these are things that are important in my business, but they're not, for the most part, they're not really like income producing, but they're things that I still need to get done and I don't want to forget about. So I just check them off as I go. Let's see. Again, I was saying try brain dumping the small things. That's exactly what I just said. The small little tasks that you need to do in your business, whatever works for you. Make a to-do list, a checklist on your phone. I have that too, by the way. I have sticky notes. Do what works for you, but brain dump it, because as much as you think that you're going to remember up here, odds are we're not. And I don't want you guys to like let the small things fall between the cracks, because I am so bad about that. So I'm trying to get better. Working for ourselves is nothing like working for somebody else. Like I said earlier on this training, most of you guys have full-time jobs outside of Scentsy, and think about like how different it is when you work a full-time job for somebody else. You have a set schedule, right? You know your routine, you know your schedule, you know what time you're supposed to be at work, you know when to clock in, you know when to clock out, you know when to take a break. Hell, you know what's expected of you within your job. When you got hired to do the job, they explain to you what is the criteria, what is expected of you for this position, right? All you guys, we all, like everyone who works a full-time job outside of Scentsy, we all, you know, you have things that you do on a day-to-day basis, right? Like, oh my gosh, I need to get this and this done before I clock out today, right? You have your expectations set in front of you. You have somebody that is that is your boss, right? That you're required to show up, because odds are if you don't show up, you're going to lose your job, right? You're going to get fired. When you work for yourself, when you have your own small business, totally different. No one is making me clock in, clock out. No one set my schedule. No one is, you know what I mean? Like, no one told me what's expected of this job. No one has told me what to do. I am, like, all of us as Scentsy consultants, we have to be self-disciplined and set those standards for ourselves, set the schedule for ourselves, because no one is making you show up. I am not emailing you an agenda every morning like someone else would for like a 8 to 4, 9 to 5 job, saying, I need you to get this and this and this done by the end of today. No one does that, right? We have to do that for ourselves. It is so different, you guys. And this is coming from, if you're not familiar, if you don't know me that well, if you just joined the team, I have always had a job since I was 18 years old. Hell, when I was 18 up until like 22, 23 years old, I had 2 jobs. Okay. So I know what it's like to have individuals who have expectations of me. I know what it's like to have deadlines. Structure, y'all, like, is so different. When you're working for yourself, it is the hardest thing ever to have that self-discipline intact and to set those standards for yourself. So different. And those that, by the way, those that are in our world, friends and family who are not small business owners, who have never worked for an MLM type business, they have no idea. Like, they're never going to be able to relate to you because it's such a different experience. Let's see, I went over that. What else? You just have to set the expectations for yourself. You know what you're capable of. You know what goals you need to set for yourself. Make sure and put a plan into action. It's one thing for us to set goals for ourselves. It's another to achieve those. It's the whole cliche saying, talk the talk, but walk the walk. When you have your to-do list, focus first on your income producing activities, and then what will not, sorry. Yeah, I'll tell her I'm reading my notes. Yeah, and what will not take as much time. Sorry, that's what I meant to say. That's what you want to focus on first. You want to focus on the things on a week-to-week basis in your business with Scentsy that are going to be income producing, right? And that's going to be different for everybody. For example, I'm not crazy about making samples. Samples are not income producing. Surprise. I hate to bust your bubble, but they're not income producing. Yes, it is important for us to get scents under our customers' noses, smells under their noses, but it's not going to produce any sales. That's the thing. So do what's going to be income producing. Do the things that are not going to take that much time. Another example, it does not take a lot of time for you to go to your order history, see the people who ordered so far this month, and follow up with them and thank them for their order. It does not take that long. Those are the things you want to get out of the way, get those things done, because that way you can focus on the bigger picture for the month. That's pretty much about it. That's all I've got. Like I said, hopefully this week you'll take the time to figure out what it is that inspires you. Maybe you already know. If you don't, I encourage you to, I want to inspire you. I want to inspire you to figure out what that is if you don't know already. And like I said, if you have somebody that has told you this month, hey, you really inspired me when, if someone shares that with you, Scentsy or not, shout it out on our page. I really want to know. I'm cheering for you guys. I'm so super excited for this new year, for this new month. Yeah, so let's get out there. Let's get it started. January, there's so much potential for this month, and I'm so ready for it. But I will talk to you guys later, and I hope y'all have a good night. Bye, guys.